So we did 10 questions, declarative statements on what would happen in the Nebraska football season. Mm-hmm. It is time now, as the regular season is over, to review said questions. Here was the run play percentages the last 10 seasons.
Yikes, this is going to be bad for your boy.
65% last year, 55% in 2022, the low over the last 10 years in terms of how much they ran the ball in Nebraska, 44.5% in 2017. The Tanner Lee offense, right?
Yes, in 2017.
Yeah. Well, here was our pick. What will Nebraska's run play percentage be on offense? I picked 51%. Josh picked 42%.
Yikes, what was I thinking? That might be the worst prediction I've ever made.
That's saying a lot.
Hey,
that
no,
is
it's
saying
not.
A lot.
It's like up the 3 bad predictions I've ever made.
And wouldn't you know who won the pony? I was basically dead on balls accurate.
All right.
Nebraska, 415 rushes, 404 passes. That's 50.7 run. Give a gold star to your boy. See, got a little gold star.
Congrats
next to
you and your balls.
That's right.
Nice.
So 1 point for me.
Okay.
We're off to a great start.
Are we? Let's see what was next.
Who will lead Nebraska in rushing and how many yards will they have?
Wow.
We both thought Emmett Johnson. I had 719 yards. Josh had 690 yards.
Nice. I did it for the bit.
Emmett came on late, but it was the now ex-Parrot, Dante Dowdell, who led the Huskers with 614 yards rushing, though Emmett Johnson did have nearly a yard more per carry than Dowdell.
Wow.
5.1 to 4.3. So, for both.
That is a surprise. Though, if the season would have continued on for many, many weeks, and, I mean, obviously Dowdell's now gone, Johnson would have eventually overtaken him because he had become the running back over the last few games of the season.
Exactly. And let's face it, when we answered this question, it wasn't known that Dowdell was going to see significant playing time.
You're right. Right before
Remember,
the season,
before the start of camp, he was persona non grata almost on the depth chart. And then just a rapid rise up, and then he ended up seeing a lot of carries this year.
Yeah.
Question 3.
Oh, God. John, no, don't show this one.
Oof.
Dylan Raiola's passing numbers. We predicted the yards, the touchdowns, and the interceptions. I predicted 3,100 yards, 25 touchdowns, 8 picks. Josh went with 2,900, almost 3,000 yards, 28 touchdowns, 8 picks. The season total, 2,595 yards, 12 touchdowns,
Icky.
10 interceptions.
And don't forget, he had 8 touchdowns in September versus, I think, 1 or 2 interceptions.
Well, we'll show it here in just a second.
Right, let me see if this works quick. Nice.
Nice, Nick.
We were high on the yards, way off on the touchdowns. Interceptions, pretty close. But take a look at these breakdowns. First 6 games versus last 6 games.
Gross.
The completion percentage was almost identical.
Yep.
66.9%
Nice.
in the first 6 games, 66.3% in the latter half of the season. But look at the yards per attempt.
Bad.
It went from 8 yards per attempt in the front half of the season down to 5.9.
It's like he got hurt or something and then just kept playing.
Interesting, Nick.
Weird.
Fascinating.
Or maybe they played a lot of better competition.
That too.
But a 9-3 touchdown to interception ratio in the first 6 games. So if that would have carried out, and I remember we did a halfway check on this exercise, that would have been 18-6. A very, very respectable year.
Mm-hmm.
And instead, in the second 6 games, a touchdown to interception ratio of 7-3.
Bad.
PU.
Yeah, not good, man. You want to talk about things that need to get better in 2025 because it's time to start counting down to the 2025 season.
No.
They got to push the ball down the field more. That yards per attempt, they can't do that. And obviously, the touchdown interception ratio needs to improve in the back half of the season.
Question 4.
Oh, boy.
How many yards rushing will Dylan have this season? And we also asked about Heinrich Harburg.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I feel like I deserve a bronze star.
no. What for? What?
Stolen valor.
For what?
Well, I was closer on both numbers.
Well, closer, but that not close enough.
Horseshoes, hand grenades, and nukes, Josh.
And predictions.
Raiola ran for minus 68 yards because he took a lot of sacks.
Yeah, but for those not watching, the question was how many rushing yards will Dylan Raiola have this season and Heinrich Harburg have this season?
Minus 68 is famously not good.
I don't know why I thought Dylan was going to have 125
And hey,
yards rushing.
what was the how long was the carry that he had versus Ohio State? Let me look it up real fast.
Wasn't that almost 40?
I was going to say, so if you go to the Ohio State game, he had a carry of 38 yards. You take out that one, and he has negative 106 yards.
Wow.
How about that mental math, Nick?
Harburg ended up with 102 yards rushing.
Way
so-
lower than we thought it would be.
Yeah.
He didn't carry the ball as much as we expected.
No, he did not.
Yep.
Question 5.
Look at us, the Gold Star boys.
Who will be the top 3 receivers in catches, and how many yards will the leader have? We were correct on the top 2. Now, admittedly, this was a pretty easy one because it was going to be either no block Banks or Isaiah Nair.
No block, no Banks.
Nice.
So we've got Banks in there. We also thought Fedoni was going to be number 3. He actually ended up number 4. It was Ja'Cory Barney who
shout out to you, young man.
Shot out of a cannon.
Yeah.
And was the 3rd leading receiver on the team. But while we do get a gold star for hitting the top 2 correctly and almost hitting the top 3, we were way off on the yards.
Dude, oh, yeah, Samsonite, I was way off. Horrible.
Josh thought Banks would have 975 yards receiving. I thought he had 730. Yep. Banks ended up with his team high 508.
Travis writes, my favorite part of this segment is Josh saying, oh boy, at each question. Max points out, all I'm realizing again is just how bad of an offense Satterfield ran. Yeah, if only there was a media member who told you for the last 2 years that he was bad. If only.
Maybe they just needed a better quarterback.
And don't forget that there was a media member who kept saying that, no, he's fine, he's good.
I never said that.
Josh just likes firing people.
I never said he was fine, he was good. Don't even try. Don't even try. You're the one that thought Banks would have 975 yards.
Stupid.
How many receivers had 975 yards this season?
In Hall of College Football?
Yeah.
Nick, good question. I'll look it up while John gets to the next slide.
Defensive takeaways the last 10 seasons. Last year, Nebraska took it away 14 times.
24, Nick. 23.
The
Nice.
best season in the last 10 years in defensive takeaways was 2014 with 23.
Nice.
The worst in a full season, because 2020 was not a full season, was 2017 with 12. So
How do we do?
we both picked 18, and we were close.
Oh, I feel like that deserves a star.
You get a handshake.
Handshake! Look at us.
I don't know about that.
Look at us.
I don't know about that.
All right.
But, I skipped ahead one.
Uh-oh.
16 takeaways, 11 picks, 5 fumbles.
Not bad, John.
Recovered. So not bad. I won't give it a gold star. But, I mean, I think we have to hit that one on the nose.
Okay, that's fine.
It's a low enough number.
close
It could be
enough.
like a copper star.
We got a handshake meme.
Travis writes, I think Sat tried too much to copy Cook and sat in a folding chair and pointed from up in the box. That's what he was doing. He was
weird.
sitting in his chair.
It's weird to take a folding chair to the box. They have chairs up there.
Yeah,
do
well, he
have
likes
chairs up
folding chairs. Yeah.
Question 7. How many sacks? Who will lead the defense in sacks this season and how many? We both said Jamari Butler. Wrong. He finished 5th. It was actually Big A Ty, who had 6 sacks this year. I had Jamari with 7. You had Jamari with 8.5. So
Not
no
great,
gold
John.
Star there.
Not great.
No gold star there.
Mm-hmm.
1-score games.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, Nebraska went 1-5. The year before, 2-5. In 2021, 0-8. In fact, in the last 10 years, just 1 year where Nebraska had a winning record in 1-score games, and that was the blessed year of our Lord, 2016. what a great year that was. That was a tremendous year.
Nah.
Especially in the first week of November.
So did they recapture the glory? I know some people recaptured the glory of 2016. Did Nebraska recapture? No,
hell no.
Didn't. No.
I thought Nebraska would go 3-3 in one-score games. Josh thought 4-2.
Oops.
Nebraska went 1-5, including an 0-4 record in the second half of the season.
Yuck. So they beat. So they beat Rutgers, and that is the and that was a game they're up 14-0 in, and so it became a one-score game. So that's not even really a traditional one-score win. Disgusting. That
disgusting.
Is gross.
It is gross.
Golly.
Question 9. Now this is kind of a judgment call here, but I think it's a proper judgment. Which would best describe the Husker special teams in 2024? The options were A, a tire fire, B, frustrating, C, average, or D, surprisingly good. We both thought it would be frustrating. Yes, it was definitely...
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Our StreamYard just went down. It was frustrating.
It was frustrating.
Is there an argument for it being a tire fire?
I don't think so anymore, because remember that the place kicking,
Yeah.
Ended up solid. Buschini had a good year. So it wasn't great, but there was enough tire fire in the front half and enough positives in the second half. I think it averages out to frustrating.
It was so frustrating that it crashed the stream.
For the record, yes. For the record, I agree. I think that frustrating is the right pick. If somebody wanted to make a case for tire fire, given some of the just god-awful special teams moments, I would be okay with that.
Sure.
I would be okay with that.
But, hey, I'm grading on a curve here. I'm going to give us a gold star.
Okay.
And then the most exhilarating win of the year and the most frustrating loss of the year. Again, another judgment call, but the Colorado game did end up being the most exhilarating win of the year, though, Wisconsin probably gave it a run for its money.
Yeah.
Given that they clinched a bowl bid at home.
I would say, man, I think Colorado is the answer. If you want to go with Wisconsin, that's fine.
It is. It's Colorado.
Most frustrating loss is definitely Iowa.
It is definitely Iowa.
That was another gross loss. Josh asks, where did we net out on total yards? What was the target? 5,000? The target was indeed 5,000.
That's right, the 5,000-yard target.
We did not do that.
Great question.
Nebraska in 12 games. John, are you ready for this number? Because 5,000 divided by 12 was what again? What was the number of yards that they had to get to? Was it 350? Is that what it was?
Yeah, I think so.
5,000 divided by 12. No, it was 417 yards.
Oh.
They averaged 358.7 yards per game, and they finished with 4,304 yards. 4,304 yards.
Let's check the CFB stats here. So, and the reason we picked 5,000 was because, on average, the last few full seasons, the middle of the pack in college football gained 5,000 yards. Interesting, though. Interesting here, Josh. Florida Atlantic was at 5,000 yards even. They were 106th in the country.
Yeah, so that's not even average.
So the point is, I'm sorry. No. Hold on. Is that right?
Well, they already played another game.
Why did it do it this way? That's weird.
What are you trying to figure out?
Well, that's the reason why I picked.
No, the team that had 5,000 yards.
I'm sorry.
They were 49th in the country.
I clicked on the wrong one. I clicked on defense, not offense.
Nah, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
Kansas State had 5,007 yards, and they were 49th in the country in total yards.
Right. So actually, middle of the pack this year would have been in the range of 4,700 yards.
And they were still 400 yards short of that.
Correct. But we picked 5,000 because the last few years, 5,000 has kind of been middle of the road.
Kyle asks, Do you guys think you were off by so much on some of this stuff because of wishful thinking or because of info coming out of fall camp?
Oh, certainly. I mean, of course, you're going to be influenced by the happy news that you typically get in the month of August.
Well, and I mean, I would say, yeah, it was more what I was hearing behind the scenes. I think people close to the program misread it. I think Matt Rule misread this team.
Yeah.
I think people who watched them in practice misread this team. And thus, by circumstance, because I don't go to practices, I misread this team. I think Matt Rule, if you were to get an honest moment with him and ask him what he truly thinks about how this year went, he would be very disappointed. He would not have talked the way he did about Joel Klatt to Joel Klatt.
No.
He would not have talked about Nebraska like he did in that moment or in others if he saw this coming. And so, ultimately, that's on me for maybe not being a bit more dubious to the claims. But I think people close to the program misread this thing.
Hey, I mean, I had him picked for 8 wins, so obviously I was off.
Yeah, and I don't think it was wish casting. I think that it was, it was what I was hearing. I mean, I'm sure that there was probably some of that baked in, but
sure,
it was, I do tend to lean a little more cynical or a little more questioning on things, and this year did not go that way.
And that's why,
going into next year, I'm going to be a little more cynical on this stuff.
I am right in the middle of the road. We did the question a few weeks ago. It was after the UCLA game. Where's your confidence level in Rule in the program right now? And I said it's a 5.
Yeah.
And it's not going to move. And it's not going to move.
Mm-hmm.
Because
there's
a lot of prove it. Because we heard the same things last year. Banks and Nair are going to be the guys. And this year you're going to hear about an Isaiah Hunter who just committed today from Cal, freshman receiver, whose numbers this year were very similar to what Banks's were this season. And you're going to hear a lot of folks, they're going to get this, and they're going to get that, and they're going to be better. And no, I'm going to deal in some heavy skepticism.
Yeah. Yeah, Katie says fans got sold a heavy bill of goods on Banks and Nair. They were panned as game changers, and they certainly were, just not for the positive. Those guys we were wrong on them. I'm not surprised that we were wrong on Nair because that was a guy who dealt with injuries for a couple of years. It doesn't surprise me. Banks being what he was genuinely stuns me because I go back and I watch some of the stuff at Wake Forest, and I watch him in his good games at Nebraska, and I see a player that it has size and like a body type that should work. He's not a burner, but I never expected him to be a burner.
Yeah.
But, I mean, his blocking especially was just incredibly disappointed.
Jed does point out that the numbers we were quoting last year, the 5,000 yards, that didn't include bowl games. Obviously, we haven't had all but maybe, a couple of bowl games so far. So, yeah. There's a good chance that we'll get into the 60s. I'm just looking at some of the teams that are on the cusp, and there's quite a few bowl teams. So, yeah, you'll still end up with, by the end of the season, you'll end up with, teams in the 5. But unless Nebraska has the most hellacious bowl game, a 700-yard bowl game, they're not getting to 5,000 yards.
By the way, Katie also has a great idea. 2025 bit for Josh. Every day after the 28th, find a way to count down to the next Nebraska game. Now, that is a great segment idea.
What?
Every day on the show, we do a segment counting down to the start of the season.
No,
Nick, your thoughts?
It's a dumb idea.
Baseball.
No,
baseball.
It's not a baseball countdown.
It could be.
It's a football countdown.
John, why don't we do a baseball countdown?
Why? Here's the countdown. It's a day closer. Fart noise.
We're less than 100 days from
Same thing
day.
to next year.
No, it's going to be a great year because football will be back. The leaves.
Football's already here. It's here now. Enjoy the now.
Stop living in the future.
Yes, enjoy today.
That's why it's called the present.
It's sung by Dawes. We're living in the future.
Do you look at your lovely wife and you say, "Man, I can't wait until you're wrinkled and old, and I have to push you around in a wheelchair"? No, you're enjoying her now as she is today, as a young, spry person with bad judgment in men.
Oh, I thought you were going to say football teams.
No, she has fair judgment in football teams. Certainly not bad judgment.
The Eagles are a good team.
Like her husband. But always looking to the future, Josh. You're like always looking to the future. You're like young Luke, and what'd that get him? Got him his arm cut off.
Just his hand.
Still here for now. Michael,
Good luck running that Boston Marathon
Thank
with
you,
a little
John.
stump.
Oh, geez, John. Michael Severe's chimed in. Now, we said they need to push the ball down the field. He said, no, he needs to push the ball down the field. And then he asked, it's all in his top 2 wide receivers, not the quarterback who missed so many open receivers. We are obviously very much down on Dylan Raiola. Do not take this to mean that
I wouldn't say down, but it was a disappointment.
he was a huge disappointment. We talked about that a few minutes ago, though. So, but yeah, I hope that I'm not coming across as a Dylan Raiola defender.
No.
I was way off on him. Way off.
Oh, we were way off.
Yeah, he wasn't very good.
Way off.
Yeah.